Where there is no rule of law, there is no citizenship. The doctrine of citizenship as it is found in Nigeria is premised on the fact that you are a member of a tribal group and or a member of a religious order. We do not have a template that is blind to ethnicity or religiosity in determining the rights of those who are trapped in this space and are euphemistically referred to as citizens. There is a relationship between the rule of law and the sanctity of citizenship. You really cannot speak to citizenship when the rule of law is absent. The rule of law is that leveler that says, irrespective of your office or whose son or daughter you are, all citizens are equal in the eyes of the law. It is only the supremacy of the law that counts. We're saying that the state and the citizens are beholden to the law and the law reigns supreme without fear or favor. By contrast, where the law is wholly dependent on the subjective interpretation of one man, where the law is what a man says, we cannot speak of citizenship. To cite an example, in what universe is it okay for the convoy of the army chief to kill over 450 persons that are believed or are lied to that they are citizens? That was Buratai in Zaria. There are some citizens that these are citizens that they are sworn and they are under they've sworn under oath to protect. They swore to protect these persons. Yet in this aberration of nationhood, the murders could be justified because these were Shia Muslims, not Sunni Muslims. We haven't come around to talking about the horrible thing that took place at Lekki toll gate, rightly called a massacre by the panel set up by the government itself, where citizens were killed in broad daylight. Yet we speak of citizens in such a country, citizens, law-protected persons for whose lives the state has an obligation to give an account. Let me remind you, in South Africa, in spite of the fact that they had an apartheid regime in place, the persons living there could not be killed with the kind of impunity that has been visited on the Nigerian, governed by fellow Nigerians and not in an apartheid state. A country where a policeman, an agent of the state, can brag that he will shoot you and nothing will happen, and he's merely telling you the truth. Where the president declares, blithely, he declares and determines a thing, and it happens. He's the imperator. We can build a coastal road without public bidding. We can do what we like. We can build a road at, I think, 4 billion per kilometer. That is the country where we are living. Where the president is more or less like the Sultan. He reigns with impunity. It is nothing short of a centralized monopolization of power. Nothing short of it. There is no citizenship in this space. We are therefore dealing with a situation where the rule of law has overtaken, where the rule of men, the impunity of men, it has overtaken the rule of law, and the Nigerian is left with a delusion called citizenship.
Very deep words there from Dele Farorimi, and very apt words. We live in a society where, though we might call ourselves citizens, but we are not treated as citizens, we are treated as slaves. But one of the things for me is the fact that, yes, even if those people treat us not as citizens but as slaves, we must never accept that we are anything less than citizens. And so we must continue to stand for our rights and we must continue to fight for our rights. One of the things that we all must understand is that whenever anything is done to anyone, it's all of us that is being done to. It doesn't matter whether you like the person or you do not like the person. What matters is it just? Is the act just? Wherever there is injustice, we must understand the fact that injustice to one is injustice to all. And anything that affects one person affects all of us. Because if we do not, it's only a matter of time before that thing that we felt did not affect us will come and also become our problems. As citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, how do you see yourself? I always say this thing, we're all victims waiting to happen. It's Son by Turn Nigeria Limited. Nigeria will show you. You see a lot of people coming out to say, oh, they never thought Nigeria will happen to them. It's because they think that they are separated from the things that are happening. They don't understand that the moment it happened to one person, the likelihood of it happening to every one of us is there. It depends on who, fate picks at the time that it picks it. And that's why it's very important that every time, whatever we do, that we ensure that the power truly comes back to the people. Because actually, power belongs to the people and not the people in power. And the day that the people in power begin to fear the power of the people, then we will have a country that works for every one of us. And I can tell you and I can assure you that power will not belong to the people until the people on their own dare for it and go for it and refuse to allow themselves, to be subjugated in their own country, in their own community, in their own place. So therefore, I say to every one of us, what is that thing that you're going to do to ensure that Nigeria gets the things that it's supposed to get? What are those things that you're going to do to ensure that we get to where we want to be? You don't have to, if you're not one of those who speak out, you don't have to speak out. But in every one of us, we have our strength. We have things we do. Some people write, some people sing, some people do a lot of things. Content creation is another way. A lot of people are educating other fellow citizens using content creation and getting to so many places. Because like I always say, the education that we have is not for us alone. It's for millions of others who did not have the opportunity to be educated. So we all need to put our hands together and ensure that everybody gets that understanding of what governance is, not just only an understanding of it, but also how it affects our personal lives. So it's very important for us all to begin to do the needful and ensure that we get that country that works for all of us. We've seen the things that are happening in Europe. For example, the recent one, most especially in UK, in United Kingdom, where they're killing people, immigrants, black, Muslims. If you look different, they say they're coming in to take away their jobs. They are trying to colonize them. Nowhere is safe. So let's build a home back there. And that reminds me of the thing I always say to Nigerians in diaspora, especially those who mock the citizens back home because they feel they have escaped. I always say to them, there's a difference, for example, between American Canadian or French Canadian and a Nigerian Canadian. When they say American Canadian or French Canadian, they look at them and say, oh, they're in Canada because they want to be in Canada. But when they see a Nigerian Canadian, they look at that Nigerian Canadian that they are in Canada because they have to be in Canada because they are running away from their home. So if we build a stronger Nigeria, it's also to the advantage of everyone, even those of you that have dual passports, even those of you that your passports, you have other passports beside Nigerian passport. It's additional strength, additional pride for you to know that the country that you come from, it's working very well. And for those of you that also have children, some of your children don't even have Nigerian passport, it will also be a thing of pride for them to know that that country that their parents came from, it's a great and amazing country. And so it behoves on all of us to build that country. These countries that we see that people are, the Americas, the Canadas, the France, they were not always the best. People had to fight, put everything on the line to ensure that those countries get to where they're doing. So what are we doing? Can't we do the same thing? And I can tell you, yes, we can, and we should. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.